This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Once again, very good morning and thanks for joining. Uh, so, as part of today's session, we are going to start the one of the high availability and disaster recovery, that is Windows failure cluster. Okay, next 3 to 4 session we are going to discuss complete on the Windows failure cluster, how to create Windows failure cluster, how to deploy SQL on cluster. Till now, whatever you've done is a standalone SQL. Whatever we completely practiced and whatever you done in the, that is nothing but SQL on standalone. Now we are going to install SQL on cluster. So when you go for SQL on cluster, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages, how to configure, what are the additional things you need to take care, what are the wait services, what is unaware services, and how to troubleshoot all this. We are going to discuss next 2 to 3 sessions, and each and every property of Windows failure clusters, so that you will be so confident how to create Windows failure cluster in on premises, how to create Windows failure cluster on Azure. Okay, being we already discussed about how to deploy the virtual machines. Now you are somewhat good at how to deploy the virtual machines. If you know how to deploy the virtual machines, you're almost good, you are good to deploy the Windows failure cluster. Okay, apart from this, uh, that's what my request to everyone, batch 39 and batch 38, even for batch 37 as also. Okay, please be available for next 15 to 20 days with me. You waited for a long time, but again, just bear with me for 15 to 20 days. Every day we are planning for 2 sessions. Morning we'll go for regular sessions. Evening we'll go for additional concepts. So mostly tomorrow you will get it, how to create the how to install the Visual Studio, how to install the data tools. Okay, being we are a database administrator, that is also very important. Sometimes you may also get a chance to install the data tools, to install the Visual Studio. So how to install Visual Studio, how to install the data tools, how to create SSS packages, basic. I'm not going for deeper dive, but how to create the basic SSS packages we are going to discuss over the evening part. That is one thing. Okay, please be available next 20 to 25 days with me. Maximum content I'm going to share within this 20 to 25 days. Come with multiple questions. The people from 38th batch, 37 batch, you already done, and maybe you already got opportunity to work in real world. The people who are starting your journey, stay with me. The market is now okay. It is starting, and we are getting a number of calls. Okay, please stay with me and pick the calls and schedule it. Let's see, everything will go for very smooth. Okay, so stay with me for next 20 to 25 days. Spend more time. Please be available in the sessions, and we already created the discussion group. Any questions, any doubts, go for the discussion group. Sorry, it can be small query, or it can be somewhat very interesting, or you are struggling something, just do in the discussion group. That is very very important. Okay, so instead of, in case the people who are not already part of the discussion group, just raise your hands. I am not part of discussion group, I will add you into the discussion group. That is a one thing. Okay, today I will add everyone, the people who are missed or people who is not part of the discussion group, and the people who are not part of the job seeker group. Okay, so Gautam and Siva, they are coming to me because they are near to me, and they are receiving multiple calls. The people who are other people, okay, please stay with me. Definitely we will place as soon as possible. Okay, once the market is somewhat good. Now, so we completed lock shipping except troubleshooting. We completed mirroring except troubleshooting, and we completed replication except troubleshooting. So these three concept, a basic concept we already done, how to configure, how to do the failover, except lock shipping, manual failover. Okay, so what is replication, how to configure replication, what are the jobs, everything we discussed. Let's discuss the troubleshooting part as well this week. Okay, along with replication, log shipping, and mirroring. Along with, we are planning to complete the SSIS part as well. How to deploy, how to create the Visual Studio, how to install the data tools, how to create an SSIS how to deploy one package in SSIS and how to migrate SSIS. Everything we'll discuss about SSIS. This whole week we'll complete the block shipping, mirroring, replication, troubleshooting, along with the SSIS complete, end-to-end complete. Along with, in morning session, we'll discuss clusters. Once we complete the cluster, we'll go for the always on availability group. Okay, so we'll go for in sequence. Please be available. Adjust your time here and there. Okay, just spend some more time with me for next 25 days. I'm not asking too much. Just 25 days. We'll complete everything in 25 days. Okay, hope everyone clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
get
sir.
get all your
Yes, sir.
questions, doubts. Again, one thing, sir.
Yes, yes.
Nowadays, everyone is asking to come to the interview for at least one round, at least one round. So please prepare for interview. Okay. So that's the major reason I just pulled 37 batch, 38 batch, and 39 batch. Okay, the people who not yet placed from these three batches. Okay, just join this batch. Get all your questions, doubts. Definitely will place it, sir. One good news. Last week I already repeated, but again I'm repeating. Last week one of our student got placed in one of the reputation company, IBM. Okay, I cannot reveal the name of the student, but he placed in IBM. Okay, definitely you people also will place. Okay, so ask a number of questions because at least you should handle the interview now. That's the major goal why I just pulling again 37, 38, and along with the current batch. Okay, just stop me, get your questions, prepare by your questions, what kind of questions they are asking, make a note. Okay, we are having the discussion group. Post your for example, you are attending one interview, post all your questions. So place two resumes on the portal level, Naukri or Monster or LinkedIn. Okay, nowadays you should also apply everything in the LinkedIn as well. You can do in LinkedIn. So three different places. Okay, one resume genuinely you can place it. One resume you can so you can prepare and place, and whatever the getting calls, you can try to attend those calls. Okay, so that you will get somewhat confidence. So what kind of questions they are asking, where I'm standing, what kind of answers I'm giving to the interviewer, whether they are impressing or not. So try to first grab the interviews. That is very important. Now self interviews is very important for everyone. Okay, that is the one thing. Again I'm repeating, in case if someone is asking we are having opening blah blah something, just contact me immediately. I will give you the suggestion whether you should, okay, apply for that job or not. Okay, whether we can trust him or not. Don't simply blame and don't simply waste your amount. That's the only one thing. Now we are good, sir. Any questions up to here? So I am just pulling 37, 38th batch as well, because almost 36 batch they 37 batch also almost they placed. No one left. 38th and 39th batch only still we are having difficulty to placement. Okay, so that's the reason again I pull you people as well, so that you have whatever the questions you're not able to answer to the interviewer if someone is asking, so clarify all your questions and doubts. Okay, and this week I'm also planning for the mock interview. Definitely, sir. Okay, this week I will come up with a mock interview. Please prepare till replication, everyone. Whatever we discuss till replication, everything you should prepare. Okay, yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, please be attend everyone. My main intention is everyone should placed. Okay, because you already paid amount to me. Okay, again, the market is not good for not only this technology, all the technologies. Little bit tough market. Okay, for next 1 or 2 months. That time, whatever the calls we are receiving, we should be somewhat more careful. Okay, somewhat more careful. So whatever the mock interview I'm going to ask, almost you will get same sort of questions, how to answer those questions, basic part. Okay, this week and next week we'll go for somewhat advanced level mock interview. Again, we'll go for somewhat advanced level mock interview. Okay, okay, yeah, that's it. Let me start it. Okay, now we are going to start one of the awaiting feature, that is Windows failure cluster. Most of the people are waiting for Windows failure clusters on always on availability group. This week we are going to discuss complete about Windows failure cluster configuration part, failover, failback, okay, properties along with the troubleshooting, completely end-to-end troubleshooting, and how many simplest techniques are there to troubleshoot the cluster logs. Because whenever you generate the cluster log, you will get more log info. It's very difficult to analyze that log info. We'll see some simplified techniques so that you can analyze the cluster log in the easiest mechanism. Okay, that's what. So first, let me ask a question. Okay, to the people, everyone. What is Windows failure cluster?
Sir,
WFC.
sir, Windows Failover Cluster. It's referred to a group of servers that work together to provide high availability to applications and services. If one of the servers goes down, another server in the cluster can assume the workload with either minimum time or no downtime.
Okay. Any other answers? Out of 14 people, mostly Azar is responding everything. What about rest? What about rest? Any difficulty to answer? I hope most of the people I granted 30th batch access, the people who already done the full payment. Correct? Yes, no. The people who are working, if they are not answering, no issue for me because they already stable in the organization. The people who are starting journey, why you people are not answering anything? If I'm asking question, I hope you already watched all the sessions. Like Gautam, why are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Then why you are not able to answer? No, I'm just simply getting because if you are answering in front of this many people, okay, you will get, you may lose your fear. Okay, please try to answer. I don't want force individual names. Okay, either it can be wrong or it can be right. Okay, you should answer. Okay, Gautam, please make this as a habit. If you are just simply connecting and just putting on mute, no need to join at all. Okay, the people who are, maybe the people due to lack of urgent work, or they are in different shifts, the people who are not able to attend the live sessions, again I'm requesting them. Okay, Then the people who are not working, why you people are not joining, I'm not sure. Join for at least for 2 months, sorry, 20 days. These 20 days are very critical, being we are discussing a lot of technical stuff here itself, very technical. Whatever we discussed till now, whatever we are discussing next, this 20 to 25 days, that is very critical for everyone. Okay, now Windows failover cluster. something happened to this database, I can bring another database to only minimal downtime because it doesn't supports automatic failover, right? You must and should require minimal downtime. But if you go for database mirroring, it is also database level, it's also DB level, okay, with no downtime or very minor minimal downtime. So in case suddenly something happened to principal,
Sir, you're not audible.
Simply you are not audible.
okay, everyone able to hear? Come on.
Yes, now we are able to hear.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Where you lost everyone?
You were saying something about database
All right.
failure.
Yeah, database, yeah, anything
Okay.
goes wrong
Yes.
with the.
Let me again. Okay, let me recall everything. Okay. So if you go to the log shipping is a database level. Okay, where it required some sort of downtime, definitely, because it doesn't support automatic failover. You need to do manual failover, correct? So it doesn't
Yes,
support
sir.
automatic failover. You need to do the manual failover. When you go for database mirroring, it supports automatic failover with no data loss. You can move your entire data with the minimal to minimal downtime. With minimal to minimal downtime. If you go for replication, it's object level where you can replicate multiple objects to the different location and you can balance the load. You can perfectly balance the load, means whatever the tables you are going to perform mostly read operations, you can move the data to the subscriber instance and you can tell to your application team, hey, you can read the data from the subscriber instance so that you can balance the load. All the reads go for the subscriber, all the writes will go for the publisher instance. All the writes will go for the publisher instance. That is how you can balance the load. But what is Windows failover cluster? Okay, lock shipping where we are going to maintain the database, mirroring where you are going to maintain the database, replication where you can maintain the database or maintain the objects. It's completely SQL level high availability, SQL level disaster recovery. Agree? Not agree? SQL level
Yes,
where you are going to maintain. But if you go for Windows failure cluster, it's a instance level failover. Instance level. If something happened to the server, something happened to the any one of the resources, okay, entire your instance resource will replicate, will move to the another node. So for example, this is technically you should call it as a node, sir. In especially when you go for clusters, you should call it as a nodes. How many nodes are going to part of cluster? How many nodes are going to part of cluster? Like if you go for log shipping, you are calling as a primary server, secondary server, primary database, secondary database. In mirroring, you will call it as a principal server, mirror server, principal database, mirror database. In replication, you are calling is a publisher, distributor, subscriber. Like same, if you go to the Windows failure cluster, every server or which is going to part of this cluster, you should technically call it as a nodes. Should technically call it as a nodes. So for example, this is my server, one server. This is one more server. This is one more server. This is, I'm calling as a simply node 1. This I'm calling as a node 2. If suddenly something happened to this node, okay, whatever the resources you are running, like services, whatever the services are part of cluster, all the services will move to the node 2 automatically. It's a instance level feature. It's an instance level feature means whatever the services you are running on top of cluster, whatever services, all the services will move to the node 2. Will move to the node 2. Means, can you share your you're not able to
Sir,
see my screen?
no, sir.
No,
We
No,
can't
sir.
see.
you didn't
Must
share
be.
this.
I cannot see your screen.
Oh, okay.
No, sir.
Thanks. Now you are able to
I was
see?
just,
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Now it's
Nothing.
good.
No, waiting for your screen.
Oh,
We are
okay.
just disconnecting and connecting, but not able to see again.
Oh, okay. Now you everyone able to see, right? It's-
yes,
Yeah,
sir. I
right,
was just
right.
Yeah,
about to ask you.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so
now
much.
it's fine,
Oh, no,
sir.
no problem. Nothing I drawn. Okay. So now again let me repeat. Now every server, whatever going to part of cluster, you should call it as a technically nodes. Okay. For example, I'm having one node, one server, sir, one server, one more server with the name called node 2. This is node 1, that is node 2. Now, for example, on top of these nodes, whatever the services you are deploying on cluster, we'll see what is cluster, all the stuff. Okay. On top of that, if something happened to this server, something happened, unfortunately, suddenly the server went down, whatever the services you are running on top of the cluster, all the services will move into the node 2. Is a instance level feature. It's not a DB level feature. Windows failure cluster is a instance level. Windows failure cluster is a instance level. For better understanding, everyone will think that okay, Windows failure cluster is only for SQL Server. No, sir. You can keep n number of services on top of cluster. I will show you. Okay, we'll see practical by tomorrow. Okay, uh, Windows failure cluster is not only for SQL, not only for SQL, like log shipping is only for SQL, mirroring only for SQL, replication only for SQL. Okay, always on is only for SQL, but Windows failure cluster is not for SQL, sir. Not only for SQL. You can keep n number of resources on top of Windows failure cluster. You can keep n number of, out of that, SQL is also one resource. You can keep storage on cluster, you can keep network on cluster, you can keep VM on cluster, you can keep IP on cluster, you can keep, that's what, you can keep n number of services on top of cluster. Out of this, SQL is also one service where you can keep on top of cluster, where you can keep on top of cluster. SQL is also one resource. SQL is also one resource. For your simple, better understanding, a cluster. Okay, a cluster is a group of independent computer systems that will work as a together. For example, take this is my laptop, sir, and this is your laptop. Like for example, Poonam laptop. Okay, both laptops are working independently, correct? Whatever the services I install in my
Yeah,
laptop, that is independent. Whatever the services
yeah,
you
yeah, right.
Poonam install on his laptop is independent. But I
Yes,
decide, okay, let's work together. So how you will group these two different devices into one group? How? With the help of Windows failure cluster. Means with the help of cluster, you can group n number of servers that will work as a together as a unit. Hope you are understanding, sir, everyone.
yes,
Yes,
So
sir.
yes, yes.
every system is working independently now. Every device. See, last session we deploy the VMs, right? We deploy Windows VM, we deploy Linux VM. Every system is working independently. and every system you are connecting and you are installing whatever services you want. But if I decide, okay, I need to work multiple system to work together, I need some sort of additional benefits. Okay, how you can group that? Group you can do with help of cluster. With help of cluster means on top of these VMs, I am going to configure the cluster. With help of cluster, I can group the servers, which they can work as a single unit. Hope you are getting. It's not a
Yes.
SQL. Again, don't can confuse. SQL, not only for SQL, you can keep n number of services on top of Windows failure cluster. SQL is also one resource where you can keep on top of cluster. On top of cluster. What is cluster? Cluster is a group. Is a cluster is a group where you are going to group multiple servers to work together. See, a cluster is a group of independent computer system refers as a nodes working together as a unified computing resources, as a unit, as a single unit. And a cluster provides a single name. Means, so for example, uh, all these servers you are keeping one single name on top of that, and you that name you should call it as a virtual name, cluster virtual name. Okay, while you are configuring cluster, you need one virtual name, cluster virtual name, and you need node information, how many nodes are going to part of cluster, along with IP address. So we'll see one by one practical. Okay, that's what. See, a cluster provides a single name for the clients to use and single administrator interface. Means you can open the failure cluster manager and you can handle everything by there. You can fail over, you can fail back, you can add the disk, you can do whatever you can in that interface, in that cluster manager interface. That sort of benefits you will get it, sir, when you go for cluster. Means in a simple lay terms, if someone is asking what is Windows failure cluster, is nothing but group of servers where it is working as a single unit. Hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Okay, see, Microsoft
Yes, sir.
Microsoft servers provides three technologies to support the clustering. Not only for resources, sir, even you go for network load balancers. You can balance the network network load balancers. Like we are not discussing about networks, sir. We will discuss about the load balancers. Okay, because how to create the load balancers, why we need to create the load balancers, especially for always on availability group. All that stuff we are going to see in the next week. So you can configure network load balancers, you can configure component load balancers, and you can also manage the clustered services. That is nothing but failure cluster manager. So Microsoft came up with the different techniques. Out of this out of this Windows failure cluster is also one technique. Not only you are maintaining resources, Microsoft is maintaining the components, load balancer components, Microsoft is maintaining network balancers, along with Microsoft it is also maintaining the failure cluster services. Hope you understand.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Like in the back end, sir. So for example, this is one server, this is one more server, which is working independently. Okay, but I want to group these two work and to work together. I wanted to first group these servers and tell to all the servers to work together. Means suddenly if something happened this server, okay, no worries, I can bring this server to online. Already this server is running, okay, but it will be in stopper state. And you can also balance the load here also. You can also balance that. Technically we'll see one by one. Okay, so Windows failure cluster is nothing but grouping of the multiple servers which are working together, and each server technically you should call it as a nodes. Each server you should technically call it as a nodes. Now we'll see one by one, sir. First, everyone must and should know about, okay, we will configure clusters in two types. One is active active cluster, one is active passive cluster. Passive cluster. So we'll configure cluster in two types. One is active cluster, one is active passive cluster. One is active cluster, one is active passive cluster. So first, what is active, what is passive? Anyone except Azar. Azar, you can tell in the last, okay? Anyone, sir.
In in active servers, one server will be online, and on other servers it will be in stop state. If anything goes wrong, then it will fail over to other server, and then SQL will be started on other server. That is
Okay,
a secondary server.
okay, very good. But what
But
is my question, ma'am? What is active?
active
No,
means
no, no. What is
SQL
active?
will
No, my question is not what is active. My question is what is active?
active means working,
Working. Okay.
Or
Working.
running.
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 I mean,
Okay. Any other answer, sir?
The application is connecting via active server, right?
Application is connecting via active server. Okay. Good, good. Where any other answers?
I'll
What is active?
I'll
And the passive is like a standby.
No, no, no. Forget about passive. First, let's see what is active.
Okay.
The application running node we can call as active node.
Application node, we'll call it as an okay. Okay. Everyone good, sir. Now, Azhar, this is now your turn. Okay. Okay. Don't take negative, Azhar. Okay. Just I just
Oh, so,
want more
oh, sorry.
more answers. Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Sir, sir, sorry, I have not referred to this uh, topic.
Oh, no
Actually,
problem.
uh,
It's okay. No problem. Okay. Uh, always that's what. See, what is active first? Okay. The node where SQL is running, where SQL services are running, that node you should call it as a active node. Fine, everyone.
yes,
The
yeah,
node where your SQL services are running. Okay. Someone told that working, someone told that running, someone told that application is connecting. Okay, I can agree with that one. But what is actual content means the node where SQL services are running. That node technically you should call it as a active node. Hope you understand. No. Yes.
yes, yes.
So the node where SQL services
Yes,
are
sir.
running, that node you should call it as a active node. Now, what is passive node? Passive.
SQL services stop
Once
running.
Okay, SQL services are stopped. Okay, you can tell if someone is asking in the interview, what is passive node means? The node where SQL is in the idle state, means in the stopper state. Make a sense, everyone? The node where SQL services
Yes,
are
yes,
in Idle state is nothing but stop. Sir, only one instance. So for example, I installed prod instance. Okay, on both the server, my prod instance is running. Only one server, your SQL services will run, sir. In all servers, your SQL services will be in the stopper state. If you understand this logic, you are almost good at the cluster, sir. Please try to understand. Most of the people will confuse here itself. Okay, this is okay node 1. Okay, this is node 2. This is node 3. Now try to understand the logics. Okay, this is very important. If you understand, you're almost good at the cluster level. Okay, now try to understand the logic, sir. Now here prod, prod, prod. I configured 3 node cluster. This is completely 3 node cluster. Okay, 3 node cluster where my currently this instance is running on node 1. It is acting as a active node, and this is acting as a passive node. This is acting as a passive node, means idle nodes where your SQL services are in stopper state. Where your SQL services in stopper state. What is active? The node where SQL is running will call it as active node. The node where SQL services are in idle state will call it as a passive node. That is what active and passive. What is active passive cluster? What is active passive cluster means? This is your active passive cluster, sir. Only one node where your SQL is running, rest all the nodes are acting as a just passive. No other nodes any SQL is running. Correct? Any node SQL is running, sir, except node 1?
No, sir.
No, right? So these, when you see this sort of configuration, assume, sir, in real world you will see 2 node cluster, 3 node cluster, 4 node cluster, 5 node cluster maximum, sir. You'll go for 5 node cluster, 4 node cluster. Maximum you may get 4 node, or maximum you will get 5 node cluster. Okay. Whenever you open Failover cluster manager, whenever you open Failover cluster manager, you will see which node this instance is acting as a active, means where my SQL is running. That is very important, sir. And remaining nodes all are become the passive nodes. Only one node your SQL instance will run, sir. Only at one node your SQL instance will run. Rest all the nodes will be in the idle node. Okay, let me repeat same thing in Telugu. ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే ఏ నోడ్లో మీ సీక్వల్ రన్ అవుతుంది అనేది చాలా ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఏ నోడ్లో మీ సీక్వల్ రన్ అవుతుంటే అది నోడ్ని యాక్టివ్ నోడ్ అంటారు, మిగతా అన్ని నోడ్స్ని ప్యాసివ్ నోడ్ అంటాం. ఇక్కడ యాక్టివ్ ప్యాసివ్ అంటే ఏంటంటే అది 2 నోడ్ క్లస్టర్ అవ్వచ్చు, 3 నోడ్ క్లస్టర్ అవ్వచ్చు, 4 నోడ్ క్లస్టర్ అవ్వచ్చు, 5 నోడ్ క్లస్టర్ అవ్వచ్చు. ఒక్క ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లోని సీక్వల్ రన్ అవుతుంది, రిమైనింగ్ అన్ని ఇన్స్టెన్స్ లో ఐడల్ గా ఉంది సీక్వల్. ఆ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ వచ్చేసి యాక్టివ్ పాసివ్ క్లస్టర్స్ అంటాం. దట్స్ ఇట్, సార్. ఓకే, మేక్ ఏ సెన్స్ ఎవ్రీవన్? ఓకే
Yes. So
సార్. ఓకే,
how many
Yes, sir.
cluster, how many servers we
Possible.
can configure in cluster? Is
64
there
node
any
cluster.
limit or?
64, 64, 64. Okay, maximum you will see 4 node or 5 node or 3 node only. You don't see beyond that one. You won't see beyond that one. Now, sir, for example, this server is having 64 cores and 250 GB of RAM. This server is also having 64 cores, 250 GB of RAM, 250 GB of RAM. This server is also having 64 cores and 250 GB of RAM. Now tell me, my SQL is running only on node 1. Node 1, right? What about node 2 and node 3? They are just simply sitting idle, not doing anything, and you are wasting all your resources, right? 64 cores, 250 GB of RAM. Simply wasting. No one is using nothing, sir. Until unless if something happened to node 1, either node 2 will come to online or node 3 will come to online. Correct? Until
Correct.
something happened to node 1, your node 2 is sitting idle, node 3 is also sitting idle. You are simply wasting all your servers, resources, nothing. They're not doing anything, right? Agree?
Right.
Now
Yes.
they
Yeah,
will
agree,
come
sir.
up now they will come up with one strategy. We can also come up with one strategy. So for example, in the prod instance, I'm having 10 databases, 10 db 10 dbs. Out of 10 dbs, 5 databases are critical databases and 5 databases are so-so databases. Why we can keep all the 10 database in the same instance? Let's install one more instance. And I can keep that so-so databases, 5 databases in that instance, right? Agree? Not agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So
agree, sir.
what I'm
Yes,
doing,
sir.
I am going to install one more prod instance, like prod 1 in all 3 servers, and I am making to run that 5 databases in node 2 as acting as a primary. Now I am telling run the SQL services in node 2. This is acting as a active node, and these two nodes as acting as a passive nodes. Make a sense? Five
Right, sir.
databases are running in node 1, 5 databases are running in node 2. My performance obviously will improve, right? Agree? Not agree?
Y- Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Agree.
Sir, if you're not
Yes, sir.
understanding, again I am repeat. Try to understand the logic. I am having 10 databases. All the 10 databases are critical. Assume all the 10 databases are critical. Instead of keeping that 10 database in single instance, why can't I keep that 5 databases in one instance, 5 databases in another instance, and one instance run in node 1, one instance let run in node 2? I can do it, right?
Yes, you can.
So we have to install the two SQL servers. I mean,
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
yeah, you can install two instances. What will happen? Nothing, right? Where your SQL is running, that is very important. Where your SQL is running, it is, please be mute. Your SQL is running on node 2. I am not worried. My SQL is running on node 2 and my 5 database is running on node 2. Okay, it's okay.
Then both
It's
become
okay.
active, sir.
Now it's become active, active. I am balancing the load. I am distributing the load. So load balancers means simply write operations will go for this node, read operations will go for, not like this, sir. Okay, uh, technically we should understand a little bit more. Okay, so how you will improve the performance? Because, sir, if you're not installing this instance, if you're running 10 database in this server, then what about these two servers? Waste only, right?
Yeah.
Right.
For example, your mom is having one car, your dad is having one car, and you are also maintaining one car. Okay, but you are maintaining three different cars, the same cars, only three cars, and you are only using only one car entire your family. Then what about the two cars? No use, right? Yes. Let's split the
Yes,
work.
sir.
Yes.
Let's split the work. Then we are not wasting our resources. We are improving the performance. The performance will be too good. Okay, but again, if something happened to the node 2, your services will go to the node A, right? For example, this is not available. Forget about this is not available. If something happened to node 2, your node 1 will become active, right? Yes or no? And which need to handle 10
Yes.
databases. So that time obviously the performance will little bit impact. Rest the performance will be awesome, pretty much good. Agree, everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes, agree,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
That's it, sir. What is active cluster means? If someone is asking what is active, we are okay. Uh, both nodes SQL services are running. Means same instance. No, sir. You never run same instance. No, different instance. You need to install one more instance. Okay. Here I'm running this instance. Here I'm running this instance. Now this is also acting as active. This is also acting as active. This configuration we will call it as a active cluster. Sir, active only for you purpose, not for SQL purpose, sir. Okay. For just your understanding purpose, only active come into the picture, not for SQL. Don't see from SQL point of view. Just you need to see where your SQL services are running. That's it. Okay. This instance is running on node 2. This instance is running on node 1. Very simple answer, sir. Now, for example, you got one more node. Now you got one more node, sir. Okay. You got one more node. This node is also coming to the picture. Now this node is sitting pretty much idle. No resources, nothing. Just sitting idle, sir. This node is sitting idle. Now what you will decide? Okay, let's install one more instance. One more instance. Prod2. Sorry. Let's install one more instance. Prod2 instance. And I can make this instance to run on node 3. And this acting as a passive node. This acting as a passive node. This is also acting as a passive node. Okay, here also I am running couple of databases so that I won't waste my resources at all. If something goes wrong here, either this node will take responsibility or this node will take responsibility. If this node goes down, either this node will take responsibility, this node will take responsibility. How many how many passives you are maintaining, how many actives you are maintaining, that depends on your application configuration, all that stuff, sir. So this is how real world will works. So here we are not wasting any one of my resources. Every resource are running something, running something. Hope you understand what is active, what is active passive. Passive is nothing but idle node. Which node? For this instance. This instance, these two are passive. For this instance, this is passive, this is passive. For this instance, this is passive, this is passive. You can add one more instance. You can add one more server. Again, Subbu, uh, I am maintaining three servers. I need to install three SQL instance. No, sir. You can maintain 50 instance. How many instance you can install in one server? How many instance?
1 plus 49.
1 plus 49, total 50. Here also 50 instance you can maintain, sir. Because all these three computers are one computer. You can maintain 50 instance in cluster, 50 SQL instance in cluster, 50 instance in cluster. I can install one more instance, prod3. Here it is acting as active. Here it is acting as a passive. Here it is acting as a passive. I'm installing prod4. Here it is acting as active. Here it is acting as a passive. Here it is acting as a passive. Prod5 I'm installing. Here it is acting as active. Here it is acting as a passive. Here it is acting as a passive. Total how many instances you can install? 50 instances you can install on top of cluster. On top of cluster, one cluster, maximum you can install 50 instance. And depends on that you can install passive, sir. Passive also 50 only, same.
So if two nodes are failed, then node 3 will have a performance issue, right? I mean, impact.
All
Forget
will
about
move to
sir,
the
obviously performance issue definitely will
obviously.
notice. Forget about performance issue. I am not at all discussing performance level.
No, no, it is
Later.
automatically it will.
Yeah,
If node
everything
1 and node
automatic,
2
sir.
fails, moves to
Automatically.
node 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll
Then,
see practical. Yeah.
okay, sir.
Logically, if you understand what is active, what is passive, you are too good at cluster, sir. Too good at cluster. Any questions? We'll see. Any questions? Gautam, Karan, Azhar,
What
Mohammed. Yes.
what about patching? If we have to do patching on servers,
No.
on this server first we will do the
Today,
patching.
today we'll eat veg biryani. Tomorrow we'll go for chicken biryani. Day after tomorrow we'll go for mutton biryani, ma'am. We'll give one by one. Okay? Forget about. We'll see everything practical. Don't hurry. Let's stick with a concept. You should understand the concept. Later on, we'll see. Okay?
Okay, so
Everything will
you
go
mean
for
to say
practical.
one node A, okay, we can install 50 servers. Node 2, we can also install the 50 instance, right?
No, all the instance
Or
will install
including the
50.
cluster. Okay,
No,
okay.
all the three nodes you can install 50. Either it can be active, it can be passive. Only 50 you can install. Not 50 plus 50 plus 50. Total 150. No, sir.
Yeah,
No.
okay.
50 instance you can install. Either that can be passive or it can be active. Only 50 you can install. Where you are running SQL services, that is very important on that respect to instance. ఏ సర్వర్లో మీరు ఏ ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ని రన్ చేస్తున్నారు అనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్ సార్. మీరు మాక్సిమం ఓన్లీ 50 ఇన్స్టెన్స్ ని క్లస్టర్ లో కాన్ఫిగర్ చేయగలుగుతాం. బికాస్ ఆల్ ద సర్వర్స్ ఆర్ వర్కింగ్ టుగెదర్.
Okay, so in one cluster, we can install only 50 instance, right?
Yes.
Here each node is one server, sir.
Yes, ma'am. One server. Technically, you should call it as a node, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. How many nodes are going to part of cluster? Okay, so 2 node cluster, 3 node cluster, 4 node cluster, 5 node cluster, 6 node cluster, 7 node cluster. Maximum you will see 3 to 4 node only, sir, in real world. Questions: what is active, what is passive, what is active active, what is active passive? First you need to clarify this.
Yeah, I'm clear from my side.
Any questions, Rajini, Rashekar, the first time who are listening? Okay, Mohan, Naresh, Prasad, Shiva? No?
No question, sir.
Okay, good, sir. Now,
No questions, sir.
okay, now let's. So we discuss about what is active active, what is active passive. So how many types of clusters are there, sir? Two types of cluster. One is active active cluster, one is active passive cluster. Whatever the servers are going to part of, okay, that technically you should call it as a in a other another terminology you can call it as a single instance, multiple instance. Single instance is nothing but active passive, sir. Active passive. Multiple instance is nothing but active active cluster. In a simple for your understanding, okay, in other name, what is the other name, Subbu, to understand means, if you go for active passive, it's a single instance. If you go for active active, it's a multi instance, sir. Multiple instance, correct? Otherwise, yes or no?
Yes,
Multiple instance
yes,
only, right, sir?
Yes.
If you go for multiple instance only, you can maintain active active. If you go for single instance, you can definitely should maintain only active passive. That is what about active active and active passive, sir. Now you should know about little bit components. Okay, components. A little bit. Uh, what are the major components everyone must and should know? To sir, again, uh, Windows failure cluster. If you wanted to build completely, you need Windows in real world, sir. Again, especially if you go to the real world, Maybe whatever we are doing from tomorrow we are going to configure, right? Tomorrow we'll complete the configuration, sir. Tomorrow, whatever we are configuring, maybe you never get a chance. Maybe you may not get a chance in real world. Okay, because in real world we are having Windows team, we are having network team, we are having storage team. But here no one is available. Uh, We are doing everything, sir, to do the practical, right? So it will be a little bit complex whenever we see starting first time, but you will get so confidence if you do from the scratch. Definitely nowadays more on the interview questions on always on cluster, more questions you are getting from always on cluster, performance tuning, replication. These are the major four concepts. Okay, so that's the reason I'm bringing multiple question and answers, always on related, cluster related, replication related, performance related. So that's the reason I'm requesting everyone, please be join at any cost. Okay, any cost. Now, so when you try to configure first time, you will get a little bit bored. Okay, little bit bored, because why we are doing all that stuff, because here no one is available. We are acting as a Windows team, we are acting as a network team, we are acting as a
Subbu,
storage team. Yes.
I have a question. Then
Yes.
this Windows failover cluster is like instance level high availability and as well as Windows level high availability.
Yes, right.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Instance level. Okay, in a
Instance level.
simple term,
Okay.
because on top of cluster, SQL is also one resource, Rashekar. Like we can
Okay.
keep a number of resources. You can keep storage, you can keep network, you can keep IPs. Okay, you can keep
Okay.
DNS, you can keep generate scripts. So you can keep lot. Out of that, SQL is also one resource. SQL is
Okay, sir.
also one resource. It's a Windows feature. It's a Windows feature. Whenever you enable, you will get one service that is nothing but cluster service. If you open services.msc, if you open services.msc, if you wanted to understand, okay, whether my server contains whether on my submission any Windows failure cluster feature is enabled or not, you can see with the help of, okay, cluster. So whenever you see the cluster service, so you can search for cluster service. You will if you won't see any cluster service, if you won't see any cluster service means this server no cluster feature is enabled, related feature is enabled. When you see cluster related service,
Okay.
then you will see, okay, something cluster related services installed in this mission. Maybe that is for SQL, maybe that is for something else.
Okay, sir.
Hope you understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, currently there is no SQL service, cluster service, not SQL service. Cluster service means nothing is installed. Now, okay, so before we go and start installing Windows Failure cluster, config, blah 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 something, you must and should know little bit components, sir. Little bit about the all the components. So let's go for here in a simple terms. What I mean to say, okay, if you go for single instance means you can call it as active passive cluster. If you go for multiple instance means active cluster, active cluster. Okay, now technically every server you should call it as a node. How many nodes are going to part of cluster? How many nodes are going to part of cluster? It's a 2 node cluster, 3 node cluster, 4 node cluster, 5 node clusters. Okay, that is a simple terminology, sir. What are the servers are going to part of this cluster configuration? Those servers technically you should call it as a nodes. Those servers you technically, sorry, you should call it as a nodes. Now, cluster services. So once you configure cluster, once you configure cluster, okay, you will get one service, sir. you will get one service. That service is nothing but cluster service. Very, 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 very important. Very, very important service. When you specially working with cluster, when you specially working with always on availability group, okay, if something suddenly your AG is not doing failover, your cluster is not doing failover, or not doing failback, or something is are happening, you need to see whether cluster service is running or not. Okay, we'll see all the question and answers in the coming sessions. First go. Okay, so whenever you install cluster feature, whenever you install cluster feature, you will get one service called cluster service. See, the cluster service manages all the activities that is specific to the cluster, specific to the cluster. Getting my point? One server will maintain only one cluster service, sir. It sir, how many instance you are installing? I can install 2 instance, I can install 3 instance, I can install 4 instance, I can install 5 instance. You will have only one cluster service. That clustered service is going to take all the responsibility. What are the responsibility it will take it, sir? It will manages cluster objects and configuration. It holds your cluster configuration information. Okay, it holds, okay, policies, restart policies. Okay, restart, local restart. We'll see all this one practically, no worries. Just I'm passing some hint what we are going to see in next 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days in live practical. It's not like a theoretical practical, sir. In live practical, what we are learning, that is very important. Just try to understand. This clustered services will hold the configuration, metadata information, will handle, not holds or handle. It's handle everything. It's handle the managing the cluster objects and configuration. It's handle the local restart policies. Very, very important. I will see what is the restart policies. Okay, it coordinates with other nodes. It will coordinate with other node 2, node 3, node 4, node 5, node 6. Okay, handles the event notification, means writing all the cluster events information in the event viewer log, in the cluster event logs. Okay, that level. And facilitates the communication among other software components. Okay, so communication, sir, communication between other components, it is going to handle. Perform the failover operation. Very, 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 very important. Failoring, failover. Okay, if for example, this is my two node cluster. If suddenly something happened and this cluster service is down on node 2, suddenly something happened and cluster service is down on node 2, and same time node 1 is also down due to some other reason, will node 2 will fail over to node 2, sorry, will node 1 will fail over to node 2? No, because node 2 already your cluster service is down. If something happened and your cluster service is down, and same time if node 1 is also down, then gone, entire your services will down, sir, because without cluster services your service won't come to online, this service won't come to online. So clustered service is very important service to make your services to run. So please be careful. If cluster service is down, your it may also leads your SQL is also down. SQL is also down, sir. So please be careful. Cluster services will place one of the major role. So these are all the things your clustered service is taking in the backend. Okay, configuration information, cluster objects information, local restart policy information, events handling information. Okay, interacting with other node information, especially failover information. All this will be handling by your cluster services. You know, right? Master database. Master database is hard for your entire SQL, right, sir? Yes or no? If
Yes.
master goes down, entire your
Yes.
SQL will go goes down, right? Like same, cluster service is very important. Cluster service is down, Everything will goes down. Okay, not okay.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that is one thing,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
That is very one most important concept everyone should remember. One more, sir. Okay, so basically, every server there will be one public IP address, correct? Every server there will be one
Yes.
public IP address which is using the communication purpose. So here also same, sir. Okay, public IP address. So public IP address is nothing but for communication purpose. Public IP address is nothing for communication purpose. So especially if you go to the private IP address, you need one more NIC card. One more NIC card. You need one more NIC card, sir. So every server, whatever your server is going to part of cluster, every server you need one more NIC card, network interface card. That is nothing but private IP address, which specially working for heartbeat, heartbeat, heartbeat. So private IP address. So every server you need enable one more NIC card, that is nothing but private NIC card to check the heartbeat of your cluster. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. For example, sir, I'm telling. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. So that is how the heartbeat is keep on checking in the backend. So private IP address for the to check the heartbeat of your cluster. Hope you understand. So here every server you need two IP address. One is for public, one is for private. Private for to checking the heartbeat, public for to making the communication. Hope you understand.
Yes.
Heartbeat is nothing but, okay, that's what I told you, right? Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. Are you healthy? Yes, I'm healthy. That kind of information it is writing in the shared memory, in the buffer, sir. In the buffer, it's writing in the shared memory. So heartbeat are the messages that cluster service regularly sending between the instance through cluster service via cluster services. Via cluster services, your heartbeat message is passing between across the nodes. Across the nodes. So this is also very important terminology. So nodes is one of the important terminology. Cluster services is one of the important terminology. Public network, private network, heartbeat is also one of the important components. All are these are components, are components. Okay, not okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Now, one of the most component here is storage. Storage, and one of the major drawback is storage. In entire Windows Failover cluster, the major one of the major drawback is storage part. That is the major reason where Microsoft came up with the concept called always on availability group in the year SQL Server 2012 to overcome this major drawback with on Windows Failover cluster, SQL on Failover cluster. Okay, so basically if you go for SQL, sir, basically when you go for SQL on cluster, when you go for SQL on cluster, okay, what are the major thing is you can't store your data in the local disk. Like in take your laptop, sir. You install two instance or three instance or four instance on your laptop, right? Everything you are installing C drive, everything you are installing D drive, correct? You are keeping your databases, backups, everything in the local drives, correct? Yes or no?
Yes. Correct.
But when you go for SQL on cluster, but when you go for SQL on cluster, you can't store your data in the local disk. So local disks are not possible. No, sir. You need to create the shared disks. Shared SanDisks, SanDisk, and you need to store your data in the shared disks that can access node 1 can access, node 2 can access. So you need to create the shared disk, and that shared disk can access node 1, can access node 2. But where this disk can be visible, wherever your SQL is running on that instance, on that server, this disks are visible. This disks are visible. So when you specially go to the cluster, you can't store your data in the local disk. You need to definitely go for the shared disk. That is one of the major drawbacks, because in case this disk goes down, what will happen, sir?
Everything goes down.
Cluster also down.
Cluster won't down, sir. Why cluster will down? Entire SQL will down, right? Not cluster. Cluster
Yes,
service never down, sir. If sandbox goes down, why cluster services will down? No, nothing. SQL will goes down. Correct? Right?
yes, yes. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sir, understanding, not understanding. So if suddenly something happened to the disk, entire your SQL will down. And sir, local disks are more secure than shared disks, correct? Because shared disks are completely working with the networks. If suddenly there is a small network glitch, and that due to that glitch, your sandbox is down, enter will SQL will down on all the nodes, right? Yes or no?
Yes, yes.
So
Yes,
that is
sir.
one of the major risk with the cluster, sir. So what finally you should understand, see, okay, a Windows failure cluster use the shared storage. Typically, this shared storage is on SAN. Whenever SQL instance is installed on the cluster, your system and user databases are required to be in the same storage. Very, very important, sir. Okay, sir. Binary files, whatever the binary files like your bin folder, all the binary files you can keep in the local disk only, sir, in the local. But system databases, user databases, you can't keep in the local disk. You need to keep in the sandbox only. That is what. Okay, that allows the cluster to move, because okay, whenever you are doing the failover, it will also fail over the disks. So currently this node is acting as a active. All the disk like a G drive, F drive, T drive. Okay, T for temporary, F for log, G for data. These three disks are pointing to the node 1, because node 1 is acting as a active node. In case if suddenly happened something happened to the node 1, your node 1 services will move to the node 2, right? While it is moving the services, it will also move the disks to the node 2, to the node 2. Means G drive, F drive, T drive will point to the node 2. But if suddenly something happened to disk, entire your SQL will down, because all the data is in the disk. Your master databases, your model, MSDB, TimeDB, user databases, everything in the shared storage. If this gone, entire your SQL will goes down. That is what, sir. Okay. Whenever you are doing failover, along with your services, it will also do the SQL. Sorry, disks also done the failover. Means disk will also move to the node 2. So if suddenly something happen, it will do the it will move the disk. But unfortunately, if disk goes down, then entire SQL will goes down, sir. Entire SQL will goes down. Hope you understand. So that is one of the major drawback. To overcome this, Microsoft came up with the concept called always on availability group, where you can store your data in the local disk. Hope you understand. Not understand?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, understand, sir.
Any questions, sir?
No questions on my end.
Others?
No questions, Subbu.
Okay. So that is about the sandbox. That is about public IP address, private IP address, heartbeat. Okay. Cluster resources, node concept. What is active active? What is active passive? What is active active? What is active passive? Now there are lot many other concepts, sir. Tomorrow we'll discuss couple of things, and day after tomorrow we'll discuss couple of things when we start configuring. Okay, when we start configuring the Windows Failure cluster, we'll see one by one. Okay, so relax for 10 minutes. Relax for 10 minutes. Okay, sharp 9:40. We'll start deploying the servers and basic stuff, sir, today. Okay, basic stuff we'll see today, and tomorrow we'll go for actual configuring the cluster. That makes sense, right, everyone? Yes.
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, sharp 9:40 we'll meet, sir. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Everyone back to online?
Yes, yes. So,
Yes, Subbu.
Okay. Yeah. So let's do all the scrap work today. Let's go for tomorrow freshly to configure Windows Failure cluster. Okay. Everything scrap work will do it now. It won't take more time. It will just take 30 to 40 minutes to complete all the scrap work. Today we'll see all that part. Okay. Tomorrow we'll go for the actual concept. So what I am going to do first means let me. Okay. First I am creating. Okay. Uh, three VMs. Three VMs. One VM it is acting as a lot much. Okay. Here one VM. So here I'm going to keep node 1, node 2, okay, where your SQL is running on node 1 and node 2. Here only. This VM acting as a playing as a multiple roles. One is it is acting as a Active Directory server. It is acting as a domain controller server. It is acting as a cluster server. Okay, it is acting as a SAN server. SAN. Okay, in real world, this in real world we will maintain one additional server only for cluster. Actually, in real world, this server is just as a cluster server where your cluster resources you install and cluster where you are open the fellow cluster manager where you are monitoring and everything you are doing from this mission. But here uh, in Azure, we are having some restrictions, sir. Maximum you can use only four cores. Four cores. 4 core means maximum you can deploy only 4 VMs under free trial. So I we can't deploy multiple servers under free trial. So what I'm going to do, this is too good for us. We are having 4 VMs. That is too good. You can add one more VM for DR server as well. That we'll see later. That we'll see later. As of now, today what we are going to do, we are going to create 3 VMs. One VM you can call it as a cluster server. Okay, 2 VMs are a SQL where you are going to install SQL part. But this acting additional thing as well, this is acting as a sandbox, this is acting as a domain controller, this is also acting as a Active Directory server as well. Everything this VM is handling here. Okay, make a sense everyone? But in real world, all these three will be different. Okay, this server is just a cluster server. The server is just like a cluster server. In real world, you will see just cluster server. Make a sense, everyone? Yes, no?
yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Subbu.
Okay. Now this is what we are doing, sir. Let's go on first create the resource group. And now what I am going to do? Now I am showing everything in a single subnet. I will create one virtual network and I will create just one subnet and I will deploy all these VMs under that subnet. Make a sense? Or we can do one thing. I will create two subnets. One subnet I will go for only for this cluster. One subnet can I go for these two VMs? Make a
Yes.
sense? That is also. Anything is fine, sir. Okay. First, I need to create the resource group. I am just creating a resource group as a WFC RG. WFC SQL, yes, SQL RG, Windows Failure Cluster SQL for resource group. I am choosing east to west only. East to west only. Let's create one resource group. Once it is done, let's create network. Network. Okay. Network is WFC SQL VNet. 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 Okay. And IP address I'm selecting is 1 dot, sorry, 10 dot 1 dot 0 dot 0 dot slash 16. Okay, and subnet I'm going for node 1 subnet. Here I'm choosing 10.1.10.1.1.0 any IP address or whatever you want, any IP address, okay? But first two should be same, sir. First two should be same. Later two you can change it. Okay, I'm creating one more subnet, that is node 2. Oh, sorry. First, let me go for this one. This is not 2. This is DC, domain controller subnet. Okay, let me go for node subnet. Let's go for 10.1.2.0/24. Okay, I just created two subnets and one virtual network. Apart from nothing, sir, just click on review and create. Just click on review. It is a single subnet only. Okay, both nodes will belong to the same subnet. Both nodes belong to the same net. It is a single subnet cluster. Single subnet cluster. Next demo we'll see multi subnet cluster. What are the advantages with multi subnet cluster? How to deploy multi subnet clusters? Okay, how to add the DR servers, how to fail over to the DR, all that stuff we'll see in the coming one by one demos. Okay, let's go and create the three VMs. Let's go and create the three VMs. So let's choose a resource group. Let's go for DC. I don't want any availability zone, sir. And let's go for Windows Server 2016. Windows Server 2016. And you need to, sir, whenever you are also doing practice. Okay. Poonam, I will use this server all for 3 days. Yeah, 3 days, 3 to 4 days. Later on, you can delete and you can start practicing on Friday,
Okay.
Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
Just you done the practice. Later, I will go for always on availability group. Okay,
Yeah. Okay.
so that you won't create one more. You can do parallel practice. Okay, say admin and provide the password. Click on next. Click on next and choose DC subnet only. Click on next. Click on monitor, disable, advanced. Nothing, sir. Nothing you need to select. Basic stuff only. Why? Oh, mismatched password. Yeah. Okay. Just review and create. Go for duplicate, sir. Parallelly create the VMs. Parallelly create the two more VMs, sir. So select resource group. Now select node 1, node 1, and I don't want any select SQL Server 2000, Windows Server 2016. Why I'm selecting Windows Server 2016? Okay, you will learn it, sir. Next demo, I will show you Windows Server 2019. Okay, then you will notice what is the difference before before Windows Server 2016 from Windows Server 2000 after Windows Server 2016. That is what very important. That you will learn it in the two different demos. Okay, disk, go for default. I don't want anything. Here you need to choose the node subnet. Apart from nothing, sir, here you need to choose. Just choose the node subnet. Click on review and create it. Create. Okay, done. This server is done. Let's create one more server, sir, so that Three servers are ready. DC server is ready. Node 1 is almost ready, sir. Okay. Node 2 also we are creating. Node 2 also we are creating. Node 2. Node 2. So today we are seeing everything scrap work. Whatever you are doing today, mostly you never get a chance in real world, sir. You will have different teams, they will take care all this responsibility, but here no one is available, right? We are doing everything. Review and create. So three VMs are ready, sir. DC is ready. Okay, sorry. Node 1 is almost ready, sir. Node 2 is also getting ready. Okay. Now, okay, first thing, let me open. Let me open multi-disk software. So you can download from over the net, sir. Multi-disk. Okay. Every time I no need to copy and paste it and run it, sir. Every time you can save all your IP address so that next time you can connect from directly from the multi-disk. Okay, just it's MB only. You can directly download multi-disk. Go on search and download the multi-disk software. Okay. Now first, once I created node 1 is also ready. Node 2 is almost ready, sir. Okay. Once you create all the three VMs, so what you need to do first, to go to the DC mission from the portal. DC mission from the portal, and first make this public IP address into the static. Okay. Mostly nowadays you are getting static only, but in the past you are getting dynamic, sir. Actually, dynamic means whenever you restart the server, your public IP address will change every time. Now you are getting static, no problem. Even you restart also, it won't change the IP address. The IP address will be common. IP address will be common, sir. Please make a note. So first, to go to the DC server and verify whether your public IP address is static or dynamic. In case dynamic, you need to change to static. Okay, so that even you restart, this IP address won't change. First thing. Second thing is, okay, only DC server, sir. Again, don't get confused. Only DC server private IP address. Only DC server private IP address. Copy, copy. Go to the network. This is very important. Don't forget. Otherwise, you can't add the servers to the domain control to the domain, sir. It's very difficult. Go to the DC server. Copy the private IP address. Go to the network. Go to the network. Okay, or go to the network, sir, directly. Go to the network, whatever network you created. Minimize the blade. Go to the DNS server. Go to the custom and provide your IP address. Sometimes whenever you do copy paste, it won't pick, sir. Manually type it 10.1.1.4. Done. This is the one of the major thing you need to do if you wanted to add the servers to the domain. If you wanted to add the servers to the domain, so copy the DC private IP address, go to the network, go to the DNS server, and add the private IP address and click on save. This is the one of the major part you need to do before you do whatever the step you decided, sir. Okay, hope you understand. Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
So whenever Poonam is doing practice, so for example, I told you, right, don't create your free trial account until I will tell you. Okay, whenever Poonam is doing the practice, I will create the meeting. Everyone try to join, and you people can do the practice with the Poonam account. Make a sense, everyone? Please let
Yes,
me know,
that
Poonam.
that
Yes,
will
yes.
be
I
good.
will create the meeting invite. Everyone can join, and everyone can do practice. Okay,
Okay.
I will open the bridge
Yes,
for you.
sir.
Yeah. Okay, that's it, sir. Go to the again virtual machine. So almost my 3 VMs are ready, apart from nothing, sir. Now what you need to do, copy the public IP address, go to the, where is multi-disk? Oh, here it is there. Oh, sorry, already there. Okay, so first let me delete everything, sir, so that you will get better idea. The people who are first time seeing. Okay, right click on here, add server, provide the display name, sir, what name you want to display, and provide the password, provide the IP address, public IP address. Okay, and just click on OK. No need to change anything. Click on OK and go to here, copy the node 1 IP address, go to again here, click on add server and provide node 1 and change the IP address. Click on OK and again go to here, copy the IP address of your server, go to here, right click on here and add the server, provide node 2 and click on OK here. Now go to the properties of the server and provide your login name and password. So I not yet enable the domains until now, so that's the reason I deleted the domain. And by default, I told you right, all the Windows servers, Azure Windows servers will listen 3389 port number. I am allowing the 3389 port number, and SA admin is my username, and I already provide the password. Just click on OK. Once you provide your username and password, just click on here, connect all the servers. It will take RDP to all the servers at one shot. You no need to go here, mstsc -v, provide your password, connect, provide your password, connect, provide your password, connect. Instead of doing all this stuff, I just we can just install the multi-disk software. Don't install multi-disk in real world, sir. Okay, for your practice I'm showing. In real world, this is how you need to connect. mstsc only you should connect. Okay, so I connected DC, node 1, node 2. All my 3 VMs are connected. Make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
No, everyone?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
We'll do one by one, sir, first. Okay, so first come, what you need to do means disable the firewalls, enable the ports in all the 3 servers. Okay, without any hiccup on your practice, disable all the ports and disable the firewalls and enable all the ports. So search for firewall. So in real world, what are the ports you will enable, sir? 3389 port number, 1433 port number, 505022 if you are enabling always on, 5022 port number. For UDP, 1434 port number. If you want, you can enable only those port numbers. Rest port number you will block, sir. But here I don't want any hiccups on our practice. I am enabling all the ports. In real world, we'll enable only SQL related ports, sir. Hope you understand. Who will enable? Not you. Your Windows team will enable. Your Windows team will enable, sir. So first what you need to do, disable all the firewalls. Go to the local server. Sir, by default, you will get the server manager. In case if you by mistakenly close here, you can go and search here server manager. Again, this window will comes into the picture. So go to the local here. Okay, internet enhanced security configuration, turn it off. All your uh, firewalls I'm turning off, sir, uh, and enable the ports is very important. Okay, new rule. Okay, ports, click on next. So here I am choosing all, but in real world what you will do, sir, you will enable 1433, 1434, 5022. Okay, so these ports you will enable in real world. Because you are a SQL engineer, you will enable SQL related ports. But as of now, I am enabling all the ports. I am enabling all the ports, but in real world, you will enable only SQL all. Okay, SQL all. I'm just making and enable outbound pools as well. Outbound pools as well. SQL all. Okay, yeah, that's it, sir. Uh, One more thing, but when you especially working with Azure, sir, when you especially working, just enable this feature. It won't make any harm. File and printer share echo. Uh, IP, ICMP v4 output. Just enable this feature. It won't make any harm. It's a mandatory, not a sir. But again, in olden days, it is blocking something else. So that's the reason. Okay, just enable this file and printer share echo request only for an Azure VM, not for any on-premises VMs. Okay, that is only you need to do. Okay, I disable the firewalls and let me. I want. Oh, where is? Let's go for firewalls. Let turn it off all the firewalls, or I don't want any firewall hiccups. Okay, that's it, sir. Okay, I disable the firewalls. I enable the ports. Go to the node 2. Same algorithm, sir. In node 2 also disable the firewalls. Disable the firewalls. Okay, and enable the ports in all servers. First, you need to do this one, sir. Turn it off. Sometimes VMs will be little bit slow based on your network. The VMs will be little bit slow, sir. Please bear because we are using free trial, right? Sometimes the network and the services are little bit slow. Just you should be patient, okay? Okay, that's it. And let's enable the file share as well. So not a mandatory, but still, if you are enabling also, it won't make any harm, okay? Shit. Node 2 is little bit slow. Okay, almost we are done, sir. Node 2 is little bit slow. Node 1 and DCR is good. Okay, let's click for firewall. Where is firewall? Okay, disable the firewalls. Fine, sir. Okay, done. So I disable the firewalls, I enable the ports. So once you connect to the servers, the first thing is disable the firewalls and enable the ports. I already shown you, okay, different techniques to disable the firewalls and enable the ports. Okay, close everything, sir. We don't want now here. Okay, now go to the DC mission, sir, first. Okay, go to the DC mission. Go to the manage, manage. Click on add roles and features. Click and add roles and features. This is very important. Please be careful. Now click on next. Click on next role based access feature based. Okay, no need to change anything. Click on next. Now here, here you need to select active directory service because this server I am making as a active directory server. Okay, so you need to select active directory service, active directory service. First thing you need to select, and this server I'm also making as a DNS server, DNS. Okay, DNS server. So you need to select the DNS server as well. I will explain you, sir, because that DNS is very important. Okay, in real world you never get chance. Again, this is you need to do everything, because that's the reason we are telling everything. You need to select the why we need to select all this, you will come one by one tomorrow as well, sir. Two things: DNS server you need to select, active directory service you need to select, and one more is, okay, so expand the file and storage service, expand the files and service, and select the iSCSI target server. Why? We'll see, sir. Okay, iSCSI target server. This is also very important. So in this server, DC server, you need to select Active Directory, you need to select DNS server, you need to select iSCSI target server. Hope you understand. Yes, no,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Yes, yes.
Then click on next.
Yes,
Here
sir.
you need to select the failover cluster. Failover cluster. Only that is a one thing, sir. No need to select anything. In the futures, you need to select Failover Cluster Manager. In the server roles, you need to select Active Directory, DNS server, and iSCSI target server. Apart from nothing, you need to select, sir. Then click on next, click on next, click on next, click on install. Click on install. It will fail sometime, again reinstall. It will fail sometime, again you need to reinstall until it gets success. Okay, sometimes due to your network or due to something it will fail, sir. Again you need to reinstall this one. Make sure that these four services you need to install in the DC mission. You need to install in the DC mission. Go to the node 1, sir. Now in the node 1 you need to install only two things. You no need any active directory service, you no need any DNS service, you no need any iSCSI initiator, nothing, sir. Just you need to install .NET Framework 3.5 and you need to install Failover Cluster Manager. Hope you understand, sir. Only two things because node 1, node 2, only SQL services are holding. Wherever you are installing SQL services, on that node you need to install .NET Framework along with the Failover Cluster service. Failover Cluster service. Apart from nothing, sir, here you need to install. Okay, nothing here you need to install. Only these two services you need to install in respective nodes. Wherever you are installing SQL Server, you need to install only .NET Framework and Failover Cluster Manager. Apart from nothing, sir. Apart from nothing. Make a sense, everyone? Yes, no?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Questions are now, meanwhile.
Sir, for me, that net framework 3.5 is not working. Like I can't able to install it. So what I did, that I have removed the node and I have installed the another node. So in that it's working fine.
Yeah, sometimes, sir. Sometimes.
I have tried like multiple times, but still got it's throwing error.
Oh, maybe that VM something we
Yeah,
missed
might.
at the. Okay, okay. Questions? Any questions? So that's the reason, sir. Today we are doing everything scrap work. Tomorrow is actual demo, sir. Okay. Tomorrow we'll complete cluster configuration. We will complete quorum configuration. We will complete active passive configuration. We'll complete active active configuration. Four configuration will complete. Okay, okay. Yeah, done, sir. All four is good. We installed Active Directory, we installed DNS, we installed ISCS Initiator, and we installed Failover Cluster Manager. That's it. Okay, done, sir. Now, once you click close button, see in the flag notification, you are seeing one notification, sir. Click on here. Now it is asking promote this server to the domain controller server. Sir, just now you install just Active Directory service. Once you install Active Directory service, now it is asking to promote domain controller service, domain server, sir. You need to promote the domain. So what do you, sir, for example, see, in real world, in your laptop, you are connecting just with your login name, sir. Login name. Like for example, Subbu. Okay, Poonam. Okay, Money. Okay, just you are connecting with the login names and your passwords. In real world, every login, every server should be part of domain. In when I'm working, so my domain is my login name is na slash sgtb. To connect to my laptop, I will use this login. To connect to the servers, I will use this login na. Okay, dba sql http. This is my login to connect to the servers. To connect to my laptop, this is the login. So every login there will be domain. So that domain you are creating now, that domain we are creating. So now it is asking to promote this server as a domain controller server. Now click on OK. Click on OK. Now it will ask what is your domain name. That is nothing but forest name. Nothing but forest name. Domain name is nothing but forest name, sir. What is your domain name? So my domain I am choosing as a NA. NA is nothing but, or you can choose as a NA, sir, North America. North America. Okay. Every domain need to ends with .com. .com. Every domain needs to end with .com, sir. So NA is my domain. You can keep SA, South America, AP, Asia Pacific. Okay, you can EA, Europe, Asia, whatever domain you want, you can keep it, sir. So I am choosing NA as a North America. NA as a North America. So North America is my domain name. Just click on next. Okay, click on next. You need to choose new forest, and you need to provide your domain name followed with .com, followed with .com, and you need to provide the password. In case if something happened to this domain controller, you can recover with help of this password. But we no need to worry, sir, all that stuff. Just provide the password. Just provide the password. Hope you are understanding, sir, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everything is done. Okay, now what you need to do is, right, restart this server, sir. Okay, restart this VM. Sir, we enable the firewalls, we disable the firewalls, we enable the ports, right? Just restart once the VM, sir. Restart, not shut down. So when you are restarting, I'm sorry, I forget. I forget to highlight, sir. Yeah. Now see. Okay, this is asking password. Provide the password. Whatever password you remember, provide the same password, sir. For all, use the same password for safe side. Click on next. Okay, click on next. You need to do anything. By default it will fetch your domain name. Domain name is nothing but na is my domain name, sir. By default it will fetch. See, sir, fetch. Then click on next. Apart from nothing, sir, provide the forest name, provide the password. Click on next. That's it. It will create the domain for you. It will create the domain for you. Meanwhile, you can restart your VM, sir. You can restart your VM. Whenever you are restarting, specify it's a planned activity. Whenever you are applying patches, you will restart, right? So go to here and choose uh, mm, what application maintenance, operating system maintenance. Scroll down. Okay, go for hardware maintenance. Okay, choose any maintenance, sir. You are doing some maintenance, right? Choose the any maintenance and just click on continue. It will try to restart the VM. Don't shut down the servers. You need to just restart the VMs. Okay, go to here. Let's see. Click on install. Now it is installing domain controller. It is installing domain controllers. Okay, node 1 is restarted, node 2 is also restarted. Let's connect to sir node 1. Let's connect to node 2 as well. Do if you want do side by side work, sir. If you want to do parallel work, that is up to your ways. Okay, first time do in a side by side, not do parallel, sir. Do side by side. First disable, once you connect to the server, disable the uh, firewalls, enable the ports. Okay, and install all the services. Do one by one, sir. Don't get a hurry. I told you, right? If one people, anyone created account, you people can share your screen. I can grant the control. Okay, now you can do practice whatever you want, so that everyone can see multiple times. Whenever you are facing, just ping me. I will jump into the call to help you on the live. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. VM is ready and node 2 is also ready. Now go to the my computer, sir. I want to show you something, the differences. Okay, let me open my computer on both servers. Network will be little slow, sir. Tomorrow it will good because my internet plan is going to expire by today. That's the reason little bit slow in the network. Okay, go to my PC property, sir. Go to my PC property. See, sir. Now this is a work group. This is not part of any domain, sir. By default, all the VMs will, by default, whenever you create any VM, that will be in the work group by default. Okay, until unless you should change to the domain, then this server belongs to the domain. It's a part of domain server. Currently, this is a work group server, means working as a independently. independent, sir. Okay. Now this server should be part of domain. Server should be part of domain. We'll add it, sir. Hey, what happened? What happened? Why that is disconnected? Okay. See, now this is a by default, this is a work group. We'll add this server is to the part of this domain, sir, once this domain is done. Okay, what happened? Almost scrap work is done, sir. I created the VMs, I showed the network, I disabled the firewalls, I enabled the ports, I installed the features, I configured Active Directory, I promoted domain controller. Almost scrap work is done. Only two parts are pending, sir. Once this domain server come to online, I will add these two servers to the part of domain. Okay. Then we will create the storage, shared storage, and we'll wind up today, sir. Tomorrow we'll go for all the practice. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Fine.
okay.
Server is promoting to the domain controller. So it will take some time.
Sir, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sir, when you're trying to connect from node 1 to node 2, so does the DC has to be online all the time?
No need.
Directly we can
Means
connect, right? From
no,
node 1
you
to
need
node 2?
you if you want to use domain login name, definitely DC should be available, sir. DC is like a brain. If brain goes down, you will
Okay.
go to the coma, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no? DC is
Actually, what
very DC is
in
playing major role.
okay, so actually, what I did, that in the DC, I have created the Active Directory. So in that, there were two logins. So with the Node one, I have logged in with the first login, and in the Node two, I have tried to log in with the second login. So when I was trying to connect from login one to login two, I mean, like from Node one to Node two, the DC should be online, sir. I can't able to connect. You got my question?
DC means you created two logins. You connected node one with a different login, node two with a different login.
Yes. So when I was
Okay.
trying to connect node 1 to node 2, the DC should always be online, sir. Without, if it's offline, I can't able to connect.
From node one to node two, RDP to
Yes,
RDP. You mean to say?
yes, yes.
Without DC, that's what login you are using. See, now I am connecting. For example, if I am go to here, now this is my normal login. This is my normal login. There is no domain name. I can connect any server with normal login. You no need to worry. You no need any DC if I wanted to connect with a normal login. But if you wanted to connect with the domain login, with domain name, definitely DC should be available. Correct? Yes or no? I will show you, no worries. Sir, this server I connected with my login. This server is also connected with my login, right? Agree? Not agree? Yes or no?
Yeah, agree, sir.
Agree. Hold on. I will show you what is the differences, okay? Let me first DC come to online. Wait, sir. Hold on. I will show you practical. Okay, good. Almost my DC came to online. Yeah, pretty much good, sir. Now, okay. Now my DC came to online. Okay, let me close it. I don't want this one. So there is a shortcut, sir, if you want to open Active Directory. Okay, if you want to open Active Directory, dsa.msc. Okay, search for dsa.msc. It will open the shortcut of your Active Directory. Okay, in real world, if you are able to open dsa.msc, that is well and good because you can validate lot of things. But most of the organization will block the dsa.msc. You can't open dsa.msc. Okay, you can't open DSR.MSc, but in case you are getting a chance to open DSR.MSc, that is well and good because we can get what is my service account and whether it is got locked out or someone forget to set the password never expire for that user, what kind of email address it mapped, everything you can get in the Active Directory, sir. Everything. So, for example, okay, we'll see all that part tomorrow. Hold on, sir. Now, to open Active Directory, search for dsa.msc. It will open Active Directory, users and computers. This is your domain. Currently, I'm having only one domain. So that's the reason you are able to see only one domain, sir, only one domain. If you have multiple domains, you will see multiple domains. Okay, under this domain there is built-in computers, domain controller, okay, foreign security principles, management service, users, groups, blah blah blah, something. You no need to worry. You never get a chance to deal with these activities. That will be managed by your Active Directory team in real world. Now here, very important is computers. So when you go to the computer, currently no computers are mapped to this domain controller. Currently, no computers are mapped to this domain controller. Nothing, sir. Currently. Now let's go to the node one. Okay. And let's change to the domain server, sir. See, click on domain and provide your domain name NA. Click on OK. Why it is blocking? Yeah. Okay. Provide na.com. na.com. Okay. Now provide your username. Now this is my again normal name, right? But see, sir, what is domain name? This is your domain login name. This is login and this is domain, NA domain. So in a simple shortcut, you can provide like this: domain name / your login name. If you wanted to connect, if you wanted to connect to the server with the domain logins, then this is how you will connect, sir. In real world, every login, every service account should be part of domain. Please make a note. This is not like your laptop. And when you go to the real world, all your logins, all your servers, all your service accounts should be part of domain controller. Part of domain controller. Then click on OK. Now this server will be part of the domain. This server will be part of that domain, and you can then why you are adding this server to the domain, Subbu? Why? So I want some security policies. I want some control on this server. On this server, so you can apply the policies, sir. Mostly when you go to the real world, you can't connect to the USB port, right? Agree, not agree? Can
Agree.
you
Yeah.
can you
Agree,
connect
yes,
pen
sir. Agree.
drives? So how they are controlling all the servers, sir? How they are controlling all the servers in the Active Directory? In the Active Directory, they will apply all the policies. They will apply all the policies. They will create the groups. They will create the users. They will do lot of stuff, sir. Again, this is like a version for them. How the inter network is one version. Active Directory is also one version where you are having lot of stuff, sir. Because that is nothing but a human brain. How our human brain will works, your Active Directory will also work same. You can control everything from the Active Directory. You can manage everything from the Active Directory. Now just refresh are here. Refresh. How many servers are part of this domain? Are you there?
Two servers, sir.
True.
Two servers. Now, sir, see, I connected to the server, right? Now try to understand. Okay, I connected to these two servers, right? I connected, but
Yes.
not with my domain name,
Yes.
with my local account. If you have any doubts, can I stop this VM? Can I shut down this VM for time being? Shut down. Shut down the DC
Yes.
server.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's shut down the DC server. Anything happened to this node 1, node 2?
No, sir. Nothing happened.
No.
Because I connected with my local account. That is a local account. That is not a domain account. That is not my domain account. That is local account. Go and verify. I'm not passing any domain name. I just connected using local account. Now, what I'm going to do? Let me let me okay shut down the servers. Shut down the servers. I can connect, sir. With a local account, I can connect. Come on, yeah. Very slow. Shut down. Okay, and shut down. All the servers you can shut down, sir. Now change the domain. Okay, shut downing and change to domain, sir. My login name I am changing to the domain name now. Okay, NA. I am passing domain. Now let's start connect. Close, close, close. Go to the portal, sir. I shut down the servers. Let's say it is stopping, sir, all the VMs. Hold on. Let's stop all the VMs, sir. Okay. Now all the servers are part of domain, right? Okay. Node 2 is also stopped. Let me start node 2, sir. Let me start node 2. Now tell me whether this server will start or not. Because I stopped the DC server, right? I stopped the DC server, right? Getting my point?
Yes, sir.
My DC mission is down, but I'm just starting only node 2. Whether node 2 will come to online or not. Successfully started the node 2. Okay, let's see. Okay, starting. Your node 2 is starting, sir. Means nothing will happen to the server. Agree or not agree? Running. Your VM is running. Your VM is running. But sir, in real world, everything is connected to the domains, right? You will face lot of
Right, sir.
challenges. Okay, you will face lot of challenges. Okay, but your VM will run. But authentications, connections, policies, all will gone because your DC is down. Your DC is down. Now let me go and connect to the server, sir. Let me go and connect to the server. MSTSC hyphen V server name. What? I not copied. Okay. Server name.
Domain in
Paste it.
the node
And
1 2.
okay. Now let's provide the domain name slash SA admin parts of password. Now tell me whether I'm able to connect or not.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
server is stop request.
No, sir. How you can connect with the domain name, sir? Domain server is down. How you can connect with the domain name? Domain server is down. So you can connect with local login. Local login means I can use only SC admin and provide the password. Provide the password. Now I can connect. With the local login, I can connect, not with the domain login in case your domain is down. Sorry, your DC never down. If DC down, then gone. Okay, please make a note. Then gone. Everything is gone. Okay, so that's it, sir. I wanted to show you practically if domain goes down. Okay, hope you understand, Azar.
Sir, sir, actually, my domain is, it's offline, but still I can able to connect with the domain log
Sir, I show
in node one and
wait a second. I shown you everything as a practical. I don't know how you configure, how you are doing practice.
yeah,
Okay,
I got.
that is how the real world will work. I don't want any confused to many people. Okay, so I'm just passing a knowledge, a right knowledge. So when if something happened to the domain, nothing will happen to the servers. You can access the servers, but the servers will run with the local accounts, not with the domain accounts. Okay, all my three VMs are ready. Now go to here. Now I pass the my domain name. NA is my domain name. Now I can connect three servers at one shot. Okay, yeah, that is what, sir, I want to discuss. I want to discuss storage as well. It's been late. Okay, let me stop here. Okay, now what you need to do means now basically what you need to do means okay, once you, for example, today you done the basic part. Now what you need to do, stop all the VMs. Microsoft won't charge much price. If your VMs are running, Microsoft will charge a little bit more, sir. So better what you need to do, right? Stop the VMs. Okay, once again you are starting practice, again start the VMs, do the practice. Stop the VMs, do the practice. Start, stop the VMs, start the VMs, do the practice. Stop the VM, start the VM, do the practice until your practice is done. Okay, don't run your VMs continuously. If you stop the VMs, if you just kept it for 1 or 2 days, also Microsoft won't charge that much. Microsoft won't charge that much. If your VMs are ready, running, and you forget for 1 or 2 days, Microsoft will charge too much. Microsoft will charge too much, sir. Please be practice, Poonam. When you are doing practice also, don't waste that 15,000
Okay.
rupees. Just stop the VMs. Assume you practice for 1 or 2 hours. After that, after you have some work, stop the VMs, do your work. Again, you can come back, start the VMs, and do the practice. Okay, make a sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So don't forget, sir. Please don't forget to stop the VMs. Microsoft will charge like anything. Okay, tomorrow once we log in, we'll create this sandbox. Then we'll configure cluster. Then we'll configure quorum. Then we'll install the SQL Server. Okay, please be available at 7:45, 8 o'clock sharp. We'll start it. Okay,
Oh,
and
yeah. Okay.
inform to your group members. Join everyone. Make the sessions more interactive. Okay, that is only one request I'm requesting everyone, but no one is following, sir. Again, there is one group for Azure Data Engineer, a discussion group. Every day, 200 to 300 messages I'm able to see from that group. In our groups, no messages, nothing. Everyone is practicing individually. Okay, I'm not sure, sir. That's okay. That's it. See you tomorrow. Thank you.